I woke up to the smell of disinfectant and something else I couldn't quite place. Institutional soap, maybe. The ceiling above me was that pale beige color you only see in hospitals or government buildings. I blinked, trying to remember how I got here. My mouth was dry, and my head felt like it was stuffed with cotton. Where was I? The bed wasn't mine. The room wasn't mine. Through a doorway, I could see a hallway with fluorescent lights and a nurse's station. A woman in purple scrubs walked past without looking in. "Excuse me," I called out. My voice came out rough, like I hadn't used it in days. She stopped, backed up, and gave me that professional smile. The kind that's been practiced 1,000 times. "Mr. Harrison, you're awake. How are you feeling?" "Where am I?" "Riverside Manor. You've been with us for 4 days now." 4 days. I sat up slowly, testing my body. Everything worked. No pain in my chest, no weakness in my limbs, no confusion about who I was or where I lived. I was George Harrison. I was 67 years old. I'd been a high school history teacher for 35 years before retiring. I lived at 2847 Oak Street in Austin, Texas, in the craftsman home my late wife Sarah had inherited from her parents. "There's been some mistake," I said. "I don't need to be here." The nurse, her name tag read Jessica, patted my arm. "Your son Tyler explained everything. You had a heart episode. The doctors said you needed monitoring." "Heart episode?" I touched my chest. I felt fine, better than fine. I'd had a complete physical 3 months ago. My doctor had said my heart was strong for a man my age. The only thing he'd mentioned was slightly elevated cholesterol. Nothing alarming. "I need to call my son." "Of course. Let me get you a phone." When Tyler answered, he sounded distracted. Background noise suggested he was driving. "Dad, hey, what's up?" "What's up?" "I'm in some kind of nursing home. Why am I here?" A pause. Then, "We talked about this. You had chest pains. You called me at 2 in the morning, couldn't catch your breath. The paramedics said you needed to be somewhere with full-time medical care." I had no memory of calling him. No memory of chest pains or paramedics. The last clear thing I remembered was Emma, my daughter, coming over for dinner. We'd made lasagna together. She'd seemed distracted, kept checking her phone. That was what, a week ago? 2 weeks? "Tyler, I feel fine. I want to go home." "Dad, you're not fine. The doctor said you were confused. You didn't even remember Emma's visit." That was a lie. I remembered it perfectly. Emma had brought wine, a nice Chianti. We'd talked about her marketing job, her boyfriend Andrew, who worked in tech. She'd seemed nervous about something, but wouldn't say what. "Let me talk to the doctor," I said. "I can't right now. I'm in a meeting. We'll talk later, okay?" He hung up before I could respond. I stared at the phone in my hand. Not my smartphone. A basic flip phone, like something from 2005. When I asked Jessica about my belongings, she brought me a small plastic bag. My wallet, my watch, the one Sarah had given me for our 20th anniversary. My wedding ring. But no phone, no keys, no reading glasses. "Where's my phone?" "Tyler took it home for safekeeping. He said you'd been getting confused, calling people at odd hours." Another lie. I wasn't confused. I taught American history for over 3 decades. I could recite the Gettysburg Address from memory. I'd just finished reading a biography of Ulysses S. Grant that was over 800 pages. My mind was sharp. Something was very wrong. Over the next 3 days, I played along. I took the medications they gave me. Small, white pills that made me drowsy. I realized later they were mild sedatives, meant to keep residents compliant. I attended the group activities. Bingo. A discussion about fall prevention. A visit from a therapy dog. I smiled at the staff. And I observed Riverside Manor wasn't a bad facility. It was clean, reasonably well-staffed, but it was for people who needed full-time care. I watched a man in his 80s struggle to feed himself. A woman with advanced dementia who thought her daughter was her mother. Another man, maybe my age, who'd had a severe stroke and could barely move his right side. I didn't belong here. On the 4th day, my neighbor Frank showed up. Frank was 72, a retired postal worker with a sharp mind and a tendency to notice things most people missed. He looked furious. George, what in God's name is going on? You tell me. Tyler came by last week with a moving truck. Said you'd had a heart attack and were going to live with him and Emma. I tried to call you, but your phone went to voicemail. Then I saw the for sale sign go up yesterday. My heart, which had supposedly been giving me trouble, started pounding for real. For sale? My house? I thought you knew. I thought you'd decided to sell. I gripped the armrests of my chair. Frank, I didn't decide anything. I don't even know how I got here. He studied my face. Frank had known me for 15 years. He'd been at Sarah's funeral. He'd helped me install new gutters 2 summers ago. He knew me. You're not confused, are you? No. Then we've got a problem. That evening, Frank came back with his tablet. He pulled up the county property records. My hands shook as I typed in my address. Owner, Tyler Harrison. Sale date, the 18th of October, 2024. Sale price, Shasut Opsit Shichinj, 0. My house. The house Sarah and I had lived in for 30 years. The house where we'd raised Tyler and Emma. The house where Sarah had spent her last days, where I'd held her hand as she slipped away from cancer 5 years ago. The house that was worth at least $940,000, according to the last appraisal. Tyler had sold it for $235,000 below market value. A quick sale. George, Frank said quietly, did you sign anything? Power of attorney? Anything like that? No, I would never. But even as I said it, doubt crept in. Those days before I woke up here were foggy. Had I signed something? Had I been drugged? We need to get you out of here, Frank said. And we need a lawyer. But the next morning, before Frank could come back, Tyler arrived with someone I'd never met. A woman in her mid-30s, attractive, dressed in an expensive business suit. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Dad, this is Nicole Stevens. She's my business partner. Business partner. Tyler worked in commercial real estate, but he'd never mentioned a partner before. Nicole extended her hand. Mr. Harrison, Tyler's told me so much about you. I'm sorry about your health issues. What health issues? I feel fine. Tyler's expression tightened. Dad, please don't start this again. Dr. Wilson documented everything. The chest pains, the confusion, the memory problems. What memory problems? Who is Dr. Wilson? My doctor is Dr. Patel. Dr. Wilson is a cardiologist. He examined you after your episode. I had no memory of any Dr. Wilson. No memory of any examination. Nicole sat down across from me, her expression sympathetic. Mr. Harrison, I understand this is difficult. My own grandfather went through something similar. The early stages of cognitive decline are frightening, especially when you don't recognize the symptoms yourself. I don't have cognitive decline. Tyler said you called him 37 times in one day. You left the stove on 3 times in 1 week. You got lost driving to the grocery store you've been going to for 20 years. None of that was true. None of it. Tyler, I said, looking at my son directly. Did you sell my house? He wouldn't meet my eyes. I did what I had to do. Your care here costs $7,500 a month. The house was sitting empty. It made financial sense. You had no right. That house was mine. Dad, you signed power of attorney over to me. Remember? Right before your episode? I hadn't. I knew I hadn't, but my memory of those days was still cloudy. I want to see the document. It's with my lawyer. Then I want to talk to your lawyer. And I want to talk to Dr. Wilson. And I want my phone back. Right now. Nicole stood up. Mr. Harrison, I can see you're getting agitated. This is exactly the kind of behavior Tyler was concerned about. Fighting him will only make things worse. You're safe here. You're getting excellent care. Just focus on your health. After they left, I knew with absolute certainty that this wasn't about my health. This was about my house. And whatever Tyler had gotten himself into, Nicole Stevens was involved. That afternoon, Frank came back with his grandson-in-law, Marcus, who worked as a patient advocate at St. David's Hospital. I told them everything. Marcus recorded it on his phone. Mr. Harrison, I'm going to arrange for an independent medical evaluation. If you're cognitively sound, and you certainly seem to be, we might have a case for fraud here. But first, Let's establish your baseline mental state. The evaluation happened 2 days later. Dr. Amanda Price, a geriatric specialist, spent 4 hours with me. Memory tests, cognitive assessments, psychological screening, even a full physical examination. At the end, she closed her laptop. Mr. Harrison, you're scoring in the 96th percentile for your age group. Your cognition is excellent. Your heart is strong. There's no sign of any cardiac episode. And, she paused, you have benzodiazepines in your system. Were you prescribed these? No. Then someone gave them to you, probably over several days. It would explain the memory gaps, the drowsiness. Mr. Harrison, I believe you were drugged and committed here fraudulently. Can you help me? I can testify. But you're going to need a lawyer. A good one. Marcus knew someone. Rachel Bennett, a lawyer who specialized in elder abuse cases. She came to Riverside Manor that evening. She was in her 50s, with gray-streaked hair pulled back in a practical bun and eyes that had seen too much injustice. Mr. Harrison, tell me everything. I did. She took notes, made phone calls, asked pointed questions. This is more common than it should be, she said when I finished. Adult children with financial problems, a parent with valuable assets, a corrupt doctor willing to sign fraudulent paperwork. What did Tyler need the money for? I don't know. We're going to find out. First, we get you released. Dr. Price's evaluation should be sufficient. Second, we file for an emergency restraining order, preventing Tyler from accessing any more of your assets. Third, we start building a criminal case. Fourth, we go after the house sale. Who bought the house? Rachel checked her notes. Phoenix Rising Properties, LLC. Want to bet who owns that LLC? I didn't need to bet. Nicole Stevens. Exactly. Let's see if we can find out what kind of business deal your son got himself into. Within 24 hours, Dr. Price submitted her evaluation to Riverside Manor's medical director. They released me immediately, apologetic. The paperwork had looked legitimate, they said. They'd had no idea. Rachel filed an emergency petition with the court. The hearing was set for 3 days later. Tyler called that evening. I was at Frank's house. I couldn't go home because it wasn't my home anymore. Dad, what are you doing? Riverside called. You're not stable enough to leave. I'm perfectly stable, Tyler. I had an independent evaluation. I'm cognitively sound. There's nothing wrong with me. That's not what Dr. Wilson said. Dr. Wilson, who I've never met, who diagnosed me with heart problems and cognitive decline after one 15-minute visit based on your testimony. That Dr. Wilson. Silence. Tyler, did you sell my house? I told you why. Did Nicole buy it through her LLC? Longer silence. It's more complicated than that. It's fraud, Tyler. It's theft. You drugged me. You had me committed. You sold my house and pocketed the money. Do you understand what you've done? I was trying to help. You're getting older, living alone in that big house. Something could have happened. So you made something happen. Whose idea was this? Yours or Nicole's? Dad, you don't understand. I got into some trouble. I owed money. Bad money. Nicole said she could help. She knows about these things. She said elderly people often don't realize when they need help, and family has to step in before something worse happens. The truth crystallized. How much do you owe? That doesn't matter. How much, Tyler? 80,000. I made some bad investments. Some gambling. The people I owe don't wait for payment plans. So my son had sold my house, my home, my memories, to pay off gambling debts, and Nicole had shown him how to do it. Where's Emma in all this? I asked. She doesn't know. I told her you had a heart attack, that you were staying with me while you recovered. She believed that? She didn't want to visit me? More silence. Then I told her you didn't want visitors yet, that you were embarrassed about your condition. I hung up. The emergency hearing was in Judge Patricia Morrison's courtroom. Tyler and Nicole sat on one side with their lawyer, a man in his 40s who looked too expensive for Tyler's budget. Rachel and I sat on the other side. Dr. Price appeared via video call. Tyler's lawyer went first. He presented Dr. Wilson's evaluation, documented heart arrhythmia, cognitive decline, episodes of confusion and paranoia, unsafe living conditions. He presented the power of attorney, supposedly signed by me on October 10th. He presented Tyler's testimony about my declining health, my confusion, my inability to care for myself. Tyler got on the stand and lied. He said I'd been forgetting things for months. Getting lost, leaving the stove on, calling him at all hours, paranoid about non-existent break-ins. That doctor, Wilson, had confirmed his fears, that the power of attorney had been my idea to protect myself and my assets. He was convincing. In another context, he might have been believed. Then Rachel cross-examined him. Mr. Harrison, when exactly did your father sign this power of attorney? October 10th. Where? At my condo. Who else was present? Nicole. She witnessed it. I see. And this heart episode? When did that occur? October 12th. 2 days later. You arranged for his commitment to Riverside Manor immediately? Within 3 days, I wanted him somewhere safe. Very concerned. And the house? When did you sell it? October 18th. 1 week after the supposed heart episode, before he'd been at Riverside for even 2 weeks. Fast work. Did you list it on the market? Tyler hesitated. No. Nicole found a buyer directly. Phoenix Rising Properties. That's Nicole's company? Yes. What did Phoenix Rising pay for the house? $685,000. The most recent appraisal valued it at $940,000. Why did you sell for $255,000 below market value? I needed money quickly for Dad's care. But you just said you needed to pay off gambling debts. $80,000 in gambling debts. Where did the rest of the money go? Tyler looked at Nicole. She shook her head slightly. Mr. Harrison, Rachel continued, did you keep any of your father's belongings? Family photos? Your mother's jewelry? His books? Some things. Where are they? In storage. But you sold most of it, didn't you? Estate sale? You needed to liquidate everything quickly because the people you owed money to don't offer payment plans. Isn't that what you told your father on the phone? Tyler's lawyer objected, but the damage was done. Rachel called Dr. Price. She testified about my evaluation, my cognitive scores, the presence of benzodiazepines in my system that I'd never been prescribed. Dr. Price, in your professional opinion, does George Harrison require full-time care in a nursing facility? Absolutely not. He's cognitively sound, physically healthy, and fully capable of independent living. Then why was he committed? Based on the evidence, I believe he was drugged and committed fraudulently. Judge Morrison turned to Tyler's lawyer. Do you have a rebuttal? He called Dr. Wilson. The man was in his 60s, nervous, sweating under the courtroom lights. Under oath, he admitted he'd only seen me once, for 15 minutes. He'd based his diagnosis entirely on Tyler's reports. No cognitive testing, no full cardiac workup. Yes, he'd signed the commitment papers based on family testimony. Dr. Wilson, Rachel asked, how much did Tyler Harrison pay you for that evaluation? I don't. That's not. You received $5,000 in cash from Tyler Harrison on October 11th, correct? The doctor's face went pale. It was a consultation fee. $5,000 for 15 minutes? He said nothing. Judge Morrison removed her glasses. I've heard enough. The power of attorney is invalid. The commitment was fraudulent. The sale of the house. She looked at Tyler's lawyer. I'm referring this to the district attorney for criminal investigation. In the meantime, I'm issuing a restraining order. Tyler Harrison and Nicole Stevens are prohibited from contacting George Harrison or accessing any of his remaining assets. The assets of Phoenix Rising Properties are frozen pending investigation. Tyler stood up. Your Honor, I'm his son. I was trying to help him. Sit down, Mr. Harrison. Outside the courtroom, Nicole grabbed Tyler's arm, her carefully composed expression cracking. This is your fault. You said he wouldn't figure it out. You said he was too old, too trusting. You said he'd never fight back. You're the one who said it would be easy. You said you'd done it before. That family never presses charges. They both saw me watching. Nicole's expression went cold. You'll never get that house back. I'll tie this up in court for years. By the time you're done paying legal fees, you'll have nothing left. And you'll be dead anyway. Old man. Rachel stepped forward. Miss Stevens, I'd advise you not to make threats. They tend to look bad in court. The criminal investigation moved quickly. The district attorney, a woman named Catherine Chen, had prosecuted elder abuse cases before and took them personally. Within 2 weeks, she had enough for charges. Tyler, elder abuse, fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, filing false medical documents. Nicole, conspiracy to commit fraud, theft by deception, real estate fraud. And she had priors. 2 years ago in Arizona, she'd done the same thing to an elderly widow. The family had settled out of court, and Nicole had moved to Texas. Dr. Wilson, medical fraud, accepting bribes, conspiracy. Tyler called me from his lawyer's office. Dad, please, don't let them do this. I'm your son. Then act like it. Nicole said it would be simple. She said elderly people sign over power of attorney all the time. She said we were protecting you from making bad decisions. She said the money was just sitting there, and I needed it, and you wouldn't even notice because you'd be taken care of. I would notice, Tyler. And I'm not elderly. I'm 67. I'm healthy. I'm sharp. You didn't do this to protect me. You did it because you were desperate, and she was manipulative. I'm sorry. You drugged me. You stole my home. You sold my wife's things. The photo albums from when you and Emma were kids. Your mother's jewelry. The books I've collected over 40 years. You got rid of it all to cover your gambling debts. I kept some things. The important things. What's important to you isn't what's important to me, Tyler. You didn't even ask. They're talking about 5 years in prison. I'll lose everything. My real estate license. My career. Everything. You should have thought of that before you committed fraud. Please, Dad. I'll testify against Nicole. I'll tell them everything. Just ask them to reduce the charges. If you testify against Nicole, you do it because it's the right thing to do, not because you want leniency. But Tyler, I can't stop this. Even if I wanted to, the state is prosecuting. It's out of my hands. So that's it? You're just going to let them send me to prison? I'm going to let justice happen. What you did was criminal. If you get sent to prison, it's because you committed crimes. He hung up. I should have felt victorious. But mostly, I just felt tired. Emma called the next day. She was crying. Dad, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Tyler said you had a heart attack. He said you were staying with him. He showed me paperwork from a doctor. I thought he was taking care of you. Emma, what else did he tell you? That you didn't want visitors yet. That you were embarrassed about needing help. I believed him because he's my brother. Because I thought he'd never lie about something like that. Did he ask you to sign anything? A long pause. A medical directive. He said it was so that if anything happened to you while you were recovering, both of us would be able to make decisions. Emma, he forged my signature on power of attorney. I think he probably forged yours on something too. Oh my God. I need you to check. Go through any documents he had you sign. Bring them to Rachel Bennett. 3 hours later, Emma was in Rachel's office with documents Tyler had her sign. Not a medical directive. A quitclaim deed, transferring any potential inheritance rights to Tyler. He'd needed her signature to make the house sale clean. Emma sat across from me in Rachel's conference room, tears streaming down her face. I signed away your house. I helped him steal from you. You didn't know. I should have known. I should have visited you. I should have insisted. But I was busy with work, and Tyler seemed so concerned, and I trusted him. Emma, listen to me. You're not responsible for your brother's choices. He manipulated both of us. Are you going to press charges against me too? No. You were a victim, same as me. But I need you to testify. I need you to tell the court what Tyler did, how he tricked you. She nodded. I will. I'll tell them everything. The district attorney added Emma's testimony to the case. Tyler had now defrauded multiple people, including his own sister. Marcus took a plea deal. He agreed to testify against Nicole in exchange for reduced charges. 4 years in prison, 5 years probation, and he'd have to surrender his real estate license. He'd also have to pay restitution, though I knew I'd never see most of it. Before sentencing, he asked to see me. We met in a conference room at the courthouse. Rachel, present. Dad, I know this doesn't change anything, But I need you to understand. I was desperate. The people I owed money to, they weren't going to wait. They were threatening me. My business was failing. Nicole made it sound so reasonable, like I was protecting you. Tyler, you weren't protecting me. You were protecting yourself, at my expense. I know that now. But in the moment, I convinced myself it was the right thing to do. That you were getting older anyway. That you'd need care eventually. That this was just accelerating the inevitable. I'm 67, not 97. I could live another 20 or 30 years. I know. I wasn't thinking straight. The gambling, it got out of hand. And Nicole, she knew exactly what to say. She knew how to make it seem normal. How many others has she done this to? I don't know. She mentioned a case in Arizona. Maybe others. She's good at finding vulnerable people. I wasn't vulnerable until you made me vulnerable. He looked at his hands. Can you ever forgive me? I thought about that. About Tyler as a little boy, climbing into my lap to read stories. About teaching him to ride a bike. About his high school graduation. About Sarah's funeral. How he'd held my hand through the whole service. Tyler, I love you. You're my son, and that will never change. But forgiveness isn't the same as trust, and I don't know if I'll ever trust you again. Can we try? After I serve my time, can we try to rebuild? Maybe. But not now. Not while you're only sorry because you got caught. Nicole's trial was longer. She pleaded not guilty, claimed she'd had no idea the power of attorney was fraudulent, that Tyler had acted alone. But the evidence was overwhelming. Text messages between them. Once he's in the facility, we can move fast on the house. Financial records showing she'd profited at every step. The Arizona case, where she'd done essentially the same thing. Testimony from that victim, an 82-year-old widow who flew in to tell her story. Dr. Wilson, having taken a plea deal, testified about how Nicole had approached him, offered him cash to sign commitment papers, assured him it was helping an elderly man get necessary care. Emma testified about the forged quitclaim deed. Frank testified about the sudden moving truck and for sale sign. Dr. Price testified about my cognitive health. Rachel presented evidence of other potential victims Nicole had targeted, cases that hadn't gone to court but showed a pattern. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Nicole got 7 years in prison. When the sentence was read, she turned and looked at me. Her expression wasn't angry or sad or apologetic. It was calculating. Even then, I could see her planning, figuring out her next move. Some people don't change. They just get better at hiding what they are. The civil suit to recover my house took months. Phoenix Rising Properties had sold it to another LLC, which had begun the process of selling it to a third buyer. Rachel traced every transaction, documented every transfer, proved the entire chain was based on fraudulent power of attorney. Eventually, Phoenix Rising transferred the house back to me along with $175,000 in damages. The house had been sitting empty. Nicole hadn't been able to find a legitimate buyer once the criminal investigation started. 9 months after I woke up in Riverside Manor, I walked through my front door again. The house was empty. Tyler had sold everything. Furniture, dishes, books, photos, Sarah's jewelry, including her grandmother's engagement ring, my collection of Civil War histories, the photo albums from Tyler and Emma's childhood, the flag they'd given me when I retired from teaching, signed by 30 years of students. Gone. Emma helped me move back in. We went to estate sales, thrift stores, IKEA. Slowly, I rebuilt. Not the same house. That was gone forever, but something new. A survivor's house. Emma found one piece of Sarah's jewelry at a pawn shop, a bracelet Sarah's mother had given her. Emma bought it back and gave it to me on what would have been Sarah's birthday. I cried for the first time since the trial. People asked me, in the months that followed, if I'd made the right choice, if I should have been more forgiving, if I should have shown more mercy to my own son. My answer was always the same. Loving someone doesn't mean accepting abuse. Being family doesn't give someone the right to steal from you, drug you, or treat you as less than human. Tyler served his 4 years. He was released 6 months ago. He sent me a letter asking if we could meet. I haven't responded yet. Maybe someday I will. Maybe someday I'll be ready to hear what he has to say. But right now, I'm focused on rebuilding. I'm 68 years old. I have my house back. I have Emma, who comes over every Sunday for dinner. I have Frank next door, who checks on me and argues with me about politics. I have a new sense of purpose. I started a support group for elder abuse survivors. We meet twice a month at the community center. I share my story. I help others navigate the legal system. I connect people with resources. I teach them what I learned. You are not helpless, even when they try to make you feel helpless. Some people think family is everything, that blood is thicker than water, that you owe your children unlimited chances because you raised them. I used to think that too. Sarah used to say, "There are babies, George, no matter how old they get." But Sarah never lived to see what Tyler became. Or maybe she did see it, those seeds of entitlement, of weakness, and she loved him anyway because that's what parents do. I still love him. But love doesn't mean letting someone destroy you. Love doesn't mean sacrificing yourself on the altar of family loyalty. Family is what you make it. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is set a boundary and enforce it, even when it breaks your heart. Especially then. My name is George Harrison. I'm a 68-year-old retired history teacher. I'm a widower. I'm a father to 2 children, one of whom betrayed me, one of whom stood by me. I'm a survivor of elder abuse, and I'm the man who refused to be a victim in his own life. If you're in a similar situation, if someone in your family is manipulating you, stealing from you, or treating you as though your competence and dignity don't matter simply because you're aging, please know this. You have rights, you have options, you have worth, and you have the strength to fight back. Don't let anyone convince you that accepting abuse is the same as keeping the peace. Don't let anyone tell you that protecting yourself is the same as being unforgiving. And don't let anyone make you feel guilty for demanding the respect and dignity you deserve. Trust yourself. Document everything. Find allies. Get independent medical evaluations. Hire a lawyer who specializes in elder law. Report it to Adult Protective Services. Press charges if necessary. You are not too old to fight. You are not too old to start over. You are not too old to demand justice. I know, because I did it. At 67, I took on my own son, a corrupt doctor, and a serial scammer. I won, not completely. I lost things I can never get back. But I won what mattered. My freedom, my dignity, my right to live my life on my terms. And if I can do it, so can you. Remember, surviving isn't enough. You deserve to thrive.